Hello and welcome to JPod. This is a podcast on journalists and journalism. My name is Krishna Prasad and it's great to have you here. When it comes to the northeast of India, most Indians experience what is called a brain fade. Nobody can remember a thing, not even the capitals of the 7 states, without faltering. Very few have seen its mountains or smelt its markets. No one has a close friend in Mizoram, and not too many have tasted a Naga delicacy. As for Baichung Bhutia, well, he's from Sikkim. And as for the media, it's a big dark hole. Very few newspapers have their own correspondents in the Northeast anymore. When COVID struck, the Telegraph closed down its Northeast editions first. And when the floods and fires raged in Assam, a royal in Tripura begged for coverage from TV channels. The result is a region which only bounces into the national consciousness when there is a militant attack somewhere or peace talks collapse somewhere else. On Sunday, August 23rd, the Shillong Times, the second oldest paper in the Northeast, fell victim to COVID. The newspaper in Meghalaya's capital was ordered to be shut by the local administration after one of its workers tested positive. The result is that the paper, which has been published since before India's independence, hasn't appeared for 3 days now. But do Indians in the mainland know? Do they care? On JPod today, I am joined by its editor Patricia Mukhim to explain what happened. Patricia has been the editor of the Shillong Times since 2008. She is the author of the book Waiting for an Equal World, which debunks notions of gender equality and equity in the Northeast, which parachuting journalists consider as a paradise for women. She's also been a member of the National Security Advisory Board and has served on the governing board of the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, IIMC. In the year 2000, Patricia was awarded India's 4th highest civilian honor, the Padma Shri. In this podcast, Patricia Mukhim explains how difficult it is to do journalism in a part of the country where bloodlines run deep, incredibly deep. How are you doing, Patricia?
Not doing too good when your paper doesn't come out. That's not a very good thing for an editor, no?
Yeah. Patricia, the Shillong Times, of which you're the editor,
Yeah,
is one of the oldest English newspapers in the Northeast, if not the oldest.
not in the Northeast, but it's the second oldest in the Northeast. The first is the Assam Tribune.
Right. Certainly, it was the Shillong Times was born before India's independence. Is in fact
Yes.
75 years old this year,
Yes.
and it has not come out in the last 3 days. And
Yes.
a note put up on your website says we are the only media house in the world to have fallen victim to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how it all started and what has happened.
See, first of all, there was a machine man who somehow got exposed and he tested positive. He showed some signs of, not being quite in good health, and he is comorbid as well because he has some heart condition. So he was taken for testing and he was found positive.
When was this?
This was last week. I should have put down the chronology of events. I was going to put it down today, but it was sometime last week, maybe last Monday,
Right.
on Monday last, yeah. So after that, then a driver, so the people who generally work around that machine, the first contacts, they were tested, and first of all, they were found negative. The driver who carries people up and down was found positive. So the driver was also quarantined. The machine man was quarantined. Then all our staff went for a test on Saturday. They went at around midday and they waited till midnight, but the results did not come out that day. It came out only on Sunday very late. So some were listed as high-risk contacts and some as low-risk contacts. But in the meanwhile, our office was sealed, and the district health officer came, and he did not go down to the machine room and to the computer room, to the newsroom. He just was at, we have a double-storied building, so he just was talking on the first story. So we said, why don't you go in and inspect the place to see whether, how the exit is, how the entrance is. But he refused to go down. But anyway, he gave a very, very scathing report. Although, we have kept sanitizers at the entrance, we also have a wash basin with soap for those who want to actually wash their hands. But for some reason, those were not taken into consideration. And the report is that we are very unhygienic and, very adverse. I don't understand how. I mean, one would expect objectivity. One would expect them to say that this room is that, this machine room is like this. It should be a very detailed account. But I don't know who he got his information from, but he went and gave that kind of report. And based on that report, the whole institution was sealed.
Right.
But even before the institution could be sealed by the district administration, we have these local traditional institutions.
Yes.
They had already barred us from entering that building. They had barred the publisher from entering the building. The publisher wanted to go there to see if things were in order, if somebody needed something, because there were still some people inside, but she was not allowed to go in. So that is how strident some of our extra constitutional institutions are.
The note on your website says that despite COVID protocols being in place, an official order picked holes where there was none, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So explain a little more on this. Why do you say this so categorically?
We say this because we feel that, there's always been this undercurrent, Krishna, in Meghalaya, that if you are a non-tribal, you will always be wrong. So this owner is a non-tribal. And, we've always stood up against the establishment. We've stood up against all these extra constitutional forces. So this gave them a very good occasion to beat us with the stick, the COVID stick. So we feel we've done our best. Now, even the masks, we've been giving out masks to all the employees. We've been giving even gloves to some of them, those who really want to wear gloves. So we don't know what else we can do except to keep on policing them. And they're all informed people, the people working in the newsroom particularly. They're all informed, and they all, are supposed to wear the masks.
Yes.
Now, some of these newsroom people were already working from home. Some of them said, we don't want to come to office, we'll work from home. So those who have the computers have been working from home. Then there was another person who wanted a desktop to be given to her. So we provided that desktop and internet facilities. So as far as we are concerned, we think we've done the best. But we cannot be too sure, how the administration views it.
We are in the last week of August. The whole COVID pandemic began more or less in early March, mid-March.
Yes.
You have had no trouble between March and now. That's right?
No, not at all.
You had no trouble in these 6 months.
No.
How many people are we looking at? How many staffers do you have at the Shillong Times, both journalistic and otherwise?
The total number, including families, is about 85 people.
Okay.
Because while testing, we had to. Then you have about 12 people at the desk for the Shillong Times. Then we also have a Garo Hills edition called the Janera, Salintini Janera. There are about 10 people. And then we have 2 reporters. We have a news editor. We have an executive editor. And
Yeah.
I have been working from home since March, of course.
Right. Let's say about 100 people in all. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
approximately. Uh,
approximately. Yeah.
so the machine man was the first person in the office
Yes,
to be contaminated,
yes,
right?
yes,
And
yes, yes,
when we talk of a machine man, we are talking of a printing machine man,
yes, yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
You know, what has been the fallout since then? You know, has it been curtailed to just this one person, or has it, you know, have other people been affected?
Uh, Two other people who work in the machine room have been later tested positive, not immediately, later. Then the driver. So in all, there are four people who are positive.
And so, therefore, most of these are non-journalistic.
No, they are non-journalists. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned to me that a tribal elitist institution, quote unquote, tribal
Yes,
elitist institution prevented your publisher from entering the premises even before the district administration had conducted the tests.
yes, yes.
Why is this tribal elitist institution so interested in shutting out the media? I mean, I know you mentioned the fact that your owner is a non-tribal, but
Mm-hmm.
why is this institution so proactive when it comes to the Shillong Times?
There's a lot of politics involved, Krishna. See, the thing is also that the managing director, Mr. Manas Chaudhary, who was also the former editor, was in politics earlier.
Right.
He first contested when his brother died in harness. You know, he died in a helicopter crash. So he stepped into the shoes of his brother. Then later on contested as an independent.
Hmm.
Uh, then after that, he later on joined BJP. Then I don't know what sort of quirk of fate it is. Then he wasn't given ticket by the BJP for the 2018 elections.
Right.
So he jumped over to the Congress, contested from the Congress, but lost, of course.
Do you suspect some of these political undertones are also
Yes,
at play?
yeah, 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 very much, very much. Once you're in politics, so you don't know which thread you're stepping on, which toes you're stepping on. Yeah.
No, but it's a particularly poignant moment to be stepped on because this is the 75th anniversary and you would want this to go
Yes.
on beautifully. But to be
Yeah.
shutting your paper in your 75th anniversary for 3 days now
Hmm.
is not good news, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And see, our paper has many, many rivals, Krishna.
Hmm.
We About a month ago, on July 3rd, for instance, when I spoke out against the beating of, five non-tribal boys had gone to play basketball in a certain tribal-dominated area. They were beaten up black and blue by a big group of people who shut that whole basketball court, wanting to sort of get them under siege inside that basketball court. But somehow they managed to escape. Now, I don't look at incidents separately. I look at them in a holistic manner. And these sort of attacks on non-tribals have happened since 1979, and the attackers are never ever arrested.
Hmm.
There were lynchings, there were all kinds of violence, but no one has ever been arrested. So I'm looking at this whole, it's a kind of a picture that emerges. So I made a social media point saying, asking these tribal elite institutions, what are you doing about this? This happened under your jurisdiction. Surely you must know the people living there and who are the bad elements, and you can help the police identify them. So when I said that, it became a big thing. Then that particular institution, we call them the Dorbar Shnong,
Hmm.
it filed an FIR against me.
Right.
So then there was a public spirited lawyer who said, who just said that he will take up the matter on my behalf. So
Hmm.
he went to the High Court, asked the High Court to quash the FIR because it had no legs to stand on. But the High Court refused to do that. They said we'll follow due process. So the matter then was taken to the Supreme Court, where Brinda Grover is representing me.
So this, of course, is not your first run-in with them, right? Even
No, no,
last
no.
year, last
Yeah.
year also you had similar trouble, and there
Yes.
was
Yeah.
there was a case. What was
Yeah.
that one? Can you just remind us of that
That
case?
that case was a contempt of court case raised by a certain judge. We had carried out a story that these are the post-retirement benefits that judges are asking for in Meghalaya. It included, a mobile phone costing 50,000 rupees and mobile bills of 10,000 rupees every month for the judge and his dependents. So we found that a bit weird, that the amount also should be mentioned. uh, of course, we respect that people need to get their post-retirement benefits, but to list them out that way, we found a bit weird. So we carried that news, and the judge found that to be contemptuous of the court.
Mm.
And the same judge also sat on ruling, and I mean, he really humiliated us in the courtroom. That is something, of course, that we all go through when you are pulled to court. So that case was also taken to the Supreme Court. It's still there.
So you must be feeling a sense of deja vu when you see Prashant Bhushan fighting his case.
Yes. We follow that case very closely.
Uh, and what is the learning you have had in the Northeast about the Prashant Bhushan case? Quickly.
See, there are as many views as there are people, and we are living in a region that has not really been democratized. I just put out a social media post today that to expect the tribes who've lived in isolation before independence and who were little principalities, little hierarchies, to integrate into an independent India and to be following a constitution that was implanted from the West was a bit too much. We're still in the process of nation building over here. We still feel that we owe our allegiance to these traditional institutions because we think they are representative of our identities. So we think if we do not subscribe to these institutions, then we will be losing our identities. So identity has become so linked to these institutions.
How many of them are there? You mentioned one tribal institution, but
Yeah.
how many
So
are there really?
every locality has its own village darbar. You call it the darbar shnong. Every
So
locality
it's
has it. And
so it's
then,
almost like a khap panchayat.
yeah, it is. And there is no single constitution that binds them. So every darbar has its own institutions, constitution, its own rules, its own bylaws. So in one place, one institution will do one thing. In another place, will do something else. In fact, just the other day, the deputy chief minister had said very clearly that these traditional institutions should not hamper people coming to East Khasi Hills from going back to West Khasi Hills. They're even preventing this inter-district travel. They are saying that if you've come from Shillong, you have to be quarantined for 14 days. Very, very arbitrary, actually. Yeah.
So the way you paint the story is that there is a medical angle which is COVID,
Mm-hmm.
there's a political and administrative
Yes.
angle, and there is
Yes.
a tribal angle to this whole story, right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Seeing a Delhi-based website called The Citizen,
Mm-hmm.
which has described your current troubles with COVID, the closure
Uh,
of the paper because of COVID. It has
mm-hmm.
described the Shillong Times saga as a story of, quote, lies, false pride, negligence, and glory hunting, unquote. What is your response to allegations like this?
See, I have just written to Seema Mustafa saying, what sort of journalism is this when you just write one side of the story? You didn't even have the courtesy to call us and ask for our views or our response to your allegations. So she said to me, no, no, you give us a rejoinder today, we'll carry it as it is. But that's not how you do journalism. No, you can level all kinds of allegations. And Krishna, I have to mention here that the establishment did effect a pay cut because we had run dry of advertisements. The management has just recently taken a loan of over 1 crore of rupees just to be able to pay the dues of the staff and to just manage from day to day. So, keeping all that in mind, to be sort of listening to a few disgruntled employees is not fair, I think. I think it's important to get the views of the management and let the readers form their opinions. We don't know what the lies are that are being mentioned there. We'd like to know what those lies are.
So essentially, you're suggesting that there are people within your staff or former staffers who are a little miffed with
Yes.
matters at this point, and they are
Yeah.
ranting about the paper, right?
Yes. They are presently our staff, and we know that they've been putting out social media posts, haranguing and all that. But we find that a little, because the management here, and Seema has asked me whether I'm taking the side of the management or of the employees. I told her I take the side of the newspaper. For me, the newspaper is very important, and employees' grievances are to be addressed in meetings. We call meetings from time to time, and we ask them to raise questions. Everyone is asked to say, what do you have to say? What do you have anything, any views? They don't say anything in meetings. So what do? I must mention this. We are the only newspaper in the state that is paying the employees according to that Majita wage board. The only one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry to be asking this question so late in the day, but how many newspapers does Meghalaya have, English and non-English?
3 English newspapers: the Meghalaya Times, the Meghalaya Guardian, the Highland Post, and the Shillong Times. I mean, including ours, it's 4. There is the Sentinel, which is published from Guwahati. Then there are another 4 Khasi newspapers. Then there is one Garo newspaper published by us from Shillong. Yeah.
I get a sense that the paper and all journalism, in fact, is under some pressure because of COVID.
Yes.
Can you just explain, now that you've told us what the politics and the tribal politics is, what have been the pressures of running an English language newspaper in the Northeast for you?
The pressure is, first of all, that if you are anti-establishment, then the government stops advertisements, and we rely largely on government advertisements because we don't have industries or corporate houses here. On 2 occasions, the Shillong Times completely ran dry of advertisements because we were told that we write all anti-government stories. So, and then, we sell about 35 to 40,000 copies a day. If we don't sell, we have been selling very less copies post-COVID. And so our income from there also has gone down. We don't get advertisements. In fact, advertisements have started drying up right from the time of the GST. So those are our problems, actually.
And editorial problems, what are the editorial issues for you besides these ones you mentioned so far?
Editorial issues, we're able to come out. Of course, people troll us, they do all sorts of things, but at least they haven't assaulted us or anything like that. Yeah.
I mean, we are now 6-7 months into the COVID pandemic. Were things kind of returning to normal before this closure of Saturday, Sunday?
No, they're not returning to normal. In fact, we are listed as the strictest state in terms of implementing COVID protocols. Entering Meghalaya, it's very, very tough for anyone coming here. It's tough even for, operating. The other day, for instance, the downtown shopping area called Police Bazaar had been opened. They had opened up Police Bazaar, and naturally there was some crowding. The shops had been very, very strict about their protocols. All the shop owners were wearing masks, and they had kept a register there for everyone who comes in to put down their names and their phone numbers. But there were some people on the streets who were not wearing masks. And because of that, and also, we have a huge problem of hawkers. So the hawkers naturally were without jobs and on the brink of starvation. They naturally came to occupy their old spaces. Now that got the goat of the district administration, and that whole place was again under lockdown. And it has been opened up again 2 days ago. So our question was, if you keep locking down every time somebody breaks protocols, you lock down a whole market, how are we going to survive?
For the media itself, are things returning to normal? Is advertising kind of coming back?
No,
Are
no,
you
no.
able to distribute and circulate properly?
No, we are not. We are not. In fact, there are districts in Meghalaya, the West Khasi Hills, the Southwest Khasi Hills districts, which have not allowed our paper to enter since that agitation that happened in May 2018 of the Mazhabi Sikhs, if you recall that incident, where the Mazhabi Sikhs reside in a particular area, and they were asked to leave the area. So we took a particular stand even at that time, and we were told that we were very anti tribal and pro non-tribal. So because of that, our paper is not allowed to enter 2 districts.
No, let me come to the last couple of questions, Patricia. You said also that there are many vested interests who want to see the Shillong Times shut shop.
Yeah.
Who are these vested interests, and why do they want to see a newspaper which is 75 years old to shut?
People don't look at the age of the newspaper, they only look at the news. If the news doesn't suit them, and obviously it has to be those in power at the moment, the political parties in power at the moment, who are not happy with the kind of news we carry, who are not happy with our investigative journalism. They are the ones who would prefer to see that we don't have any more voice. So also a section of society that's, this is a very ethnocentric society. So they think that everybody should take a stand on their behalf. And this is what the vernacular papers do. They sometimes can be accused of inciting, because they will always take sides. If anything happens, they will take the side of the majority. Yeah, which is a very disturbing thing for anyone who's in the newspaper profession.
What kind of support have you had from industry bodies like the Press Council of India or the Indian Newspaper Society? In specific, your own troubles. Have you taken your troubles to, let's say, the Editors Guild of India, or is it all just pointless in today's India?
I've put it up on the WhatsApp group of the Editors Guild. You can't plead. You can only put that up for them to take a call. If they don't take a call, you can't, sort of. I don't know what else to say. You can't really request people to please take this up. So I put it up at in the WhatsApp group of the South Asia Media Defenders Network, and they have given a release today. Then the Indian Journalist Union, led by Sabina Inderjeet, yes, she has also put up a release about 2 days ago. Yeah. The Press Council hasn't done anything yet on this matter. I don't know if they are briefed.
Right. So now, what is the status of the Shillong Times? When do you think it will come out? Will it come out today, tomorrow?
See, yesterday at about 1 a.m. we got this notification that the area has been decontained, but there are very strict protocols in place that the high-risk tested personnel will not be allowed to work. They have to complete their quarantine, which is fine, and the low-risk ones can start working. But the point is that these low-risk employees who are residing in different parts of the city are not being allowed to come by the traditional institution in their part of the city. They're not allowed to come out. They're told that you have to complete your quarantine of 14 days.
Mm.
So we really don't know. There are too many authorities, and it's not clear whose writ actually runs.
You think the readers are missing your paper?
They are. They've been expressing, a lot of them have written in, and we were going to carry a collage of all that people are saying. People with an independent mind will always miss a newspaper that they've been so used to reading for so many years.
You haven't been able to put out an online edition either?
See, to put out the online edition, you need to get the masthead from one of the office computers. Yeah, since since we're not able to go to the office, so we're not. And then we need people also. We need some kind of a little small group at least that can come in together and do something. I was just speaking to the Assam Tribune people. They said that, yeah, in our office also many tested, and they also were machine people, non-journalists, but they never closed up the office. The office was allowed to function. The staff were quarantined, which I think is a fair thing to do. Once you've sanitized the whole place, why should you contain it?
Okay, so one last question. We can keep going on and on, but one last question.
Yeah.
The Northeast is a bit of a dark area for almost all Indians, I mean,
Yes.
including myself. So, what is the one thing you want to tell media professionals across India or even elsewhere about the Northeast in general just now and Meghalaya in particular, especially about journalism?
In fact, I've just written a piece for Umesh Anand for his Civil Society magazine, saying that there's a lot of misconception about this region. As it is, it's in the periphery. It's not much known. It shares, only 4% of its geographical area with the rest of India, 96% with foreign countries. And one would have thought that any country would develop this part first so that it integrates with the rest of the country. But no, this part has been left. Meghalaya, for instance, we don't have an airport, a functioning airport for a big aircraft to land. We have those little small aircrafts that come in. And even those are not very regular. So, and the so-called national media, I don't know if there is a national media, it does not really pay attention except for very, very few, like India Today, for instance, which sent its reporter to to report the floods in Assam, which have caused loss to about 75 lakh people, according to studies. Then you had that big fire in Bagjan, Tinsukia,
Yeah.
where so many people lost their lives. But these are flitting kind of news. Whereas Sushant Singh Rajput, for almost 3 months now, he's been in the news. So what are we being fed? And if people don't know about us, it's because the media doesn't care about this region at all. And the powers that be, every government that comes to power in Delhi, comes up with this thing about, first of all, we had the look east policy, which said that we in the northeast can connect better with Southeast Asia in terms of trade and all that. So it was look east, look east, look east. It became just a paper that diplomats would be engaging on. And then the government of 2014, the Modi government, turned it into Act East. So it became Act East, Act East, Act East, only discussions, nothing on the ground. And now some people are saying acting East. It's all acting, it's not really anything.
That's a good one, because, whatever you say makes a lot of sense to me because I've been seeing stories from Tripura about how people are neglecting Tripura. I've been seeing stories from Assam, of course, the flood and the fire. And of
Yeah.
course, now the whole Nagaland issue is actually blowing
Yes.
up. and you just see very, very little in the newspapers or very little on television, actually. So I can totally
Yes.
understand what you say.
Yeah.
But so thank you very much, Patricia, for joining me on this to explain what is happening to the Shillong Times. And I hope you come out very quickly, and I hope you regain your readers and advertisers very soon and keep the flag flying, the flag of journalism for a long time to come. And very many happy returns on the 75th birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We need that support. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
पेट्रोल के दाम कम हुए कि नहीं हुए? ऐसे नहीं, पूरी ताकत से बताइए। पेट्रोल के दाम कम हुए कि नहीं हुए? डीजल के दाम कम हुए कि नहीं हुए? आपके जेब में थोड़ा बहुत पैसा बचने लगा कि नहीं बचने लगा? आपका फायदा हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? अब हमारे विरोधी लोग कहते हैं कि ये तो मोदी नसीब वाला है, इसलिए हुआ है। अब मुझे बताइए, आपको नसीब वाला चाहिए कि कम नसीब चाहिए? चलो भाई, मान लिया नसीब वाला है, लेकिन रुपया तो आपकी जेब में बचा ना। अगर मोदी का नसीब देश की जनता के काम आता है, तो इससे बढ़िया नसीब की बात क्या होती है भाई?
The theme music for J-Pod was composed by me, Krishna Prasad, and you can follow Patricia Mukhim on Twitter at Maypat, MEIPAT. And thank you all for listening in.